Hey everybody, this is Alzorath, and welcome to First Strike, where we shoot first and ask questions later. Today we're taking a look at Oxygen Not Included, the launch upgrade. This is actually a game I kind of avoided for the longest time because I knew it would suck up a lot of my time, and I have actually recorded an episode of this, and it's going to be on the same map we're going in on. The problem is my microphone died halfway through the recording because, well, actually, I'll go into that in another video. Let's just say the cord broke. But anywho, we're going to go ahead and click resume game. We're going to see where I'm at currently. I'm going to go over some of the things I noticed, and then we're going to play around a little bit with it while I'm discussing things. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. We're actually on the lower difficulty, but we're on one of the harder asteroids. We're on Brine, which is not necessarily harder. It's more like towards the low middle end. But we're going to let it repopulate real quick. There we go. Had to unpause it to actually do that. Whenever you load in, it does that. And this is one of those games where you kind of want to plan your arrangement of stuff. Some of you may recognize certain things in here if you've actually played this game before. This is me just building semi-blind. I've looked up a few things since I started this because I got kind of sucked into it on the, well, day that I couldn't record. So yeah, we're starting to build stuff. You have a lot of things. It's got a research system. We're going to go through all these in just a minute. I've got 13 dupes or duplicants, if you want to call them that. I believe they call them dupes. These little guys, they're kind of cute. There's actually two there. You can see that the hair's layered. And there is refrigeration concerns. There's temperature concerns. I actually like Rime because it's cold. And I don't have to worry about things overheating. And I actually have to make a hot room for a certain little friend we have down here that I happen to just get from the portal, which is a Slickster, which is a point of much chagrin for me. But that's something else. First, we'll talk about research. Research, you actually have quite a few things. It's not a lot. I find that, because I like to start with a research-based character, I find that I go through the research fairly quickly, and I'm on day 55, and yeah, I haven't even been focusing on research for like half of that, and I'm already mostly done with it. All I have left is a research down into this area where I need some other kind of like interstellar research, which I currently do not have. I think I get that via another little thing on here. I'm not sure what. But anywhoozle, you also have a lot of different materials. There's different materials you can use to build things. Let's go ahead and unpause. Like, let's take a tile here. We can actually build it out of a variety of materials that we've discovered, which is nice, and it gives it different properties, which is really kind of neat. And I am focusing a lot on the positives. The things that are a little bit bothersome. One, there isn't actually a way to tell your air pressure overall. You can get like various kind of ideas about it. You can see that how much air pressure you have, like right there. It's like 2,000 grams of oxygen. Over here we have like 300 something grams. You can get it up to much higher than that. Like down here, it's actually like 5.7, and that thing can't actually vent. It's too high pressure for it to vent. It's generating water. This one is low enough pressure, and you can see that we do have different types of gas. Oh, we're on downtime. Ooh, and I got an achievement. I gotta see what that is. What achievement do we have? We have Oxygen Not Included. Distribute 1,000 kilograms of oxygen using gas vents. Sure. That's my ventilation system. But I do like the overlays, with the exception of you can't have gas pressure display. So that kind of sucks just a little bit. You can see like how things are being distributed, and the logic on it is a little bit weird. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay. Oh, I actually need to prioritize that. Oh, that is prioritized. Okay. So they'll build that whenever they can dig to it. But yeah, you can actually control a lot of things. You have a lot of information here going around and stuff like that. But yeah, the logic on these can be a little bit weird as well. Like if you have things interacting, like if I were to just have this cross over where the vent is, things would get buggered up. It'd always go out this vent rather than going down to the next one. Whereas if you have little branches off, it actually will distribute it evenly. So, and they're annoyed that I have long commutes. That's okay. But here's another mechanic, and I actually got it up kind of close to this point for that reason. I thought I had like one more day, but I was apparently wrong. You get one every 3 days. You get the chance to buy basically a free duplicant, which is one of these characters, or you have some resources available. That's how I got the Slicksters. You can get animals, you can get plants, you can get seeds, you can get food, you can get, in this case, aluminum ore, which we're actually digging up to right now on my own. And we'll eventually be digging down to them as well. And you have different like abilities and stuff like that on the characters. Whenever you start out, you can roll your first 3 dupes, but every other one that you get is going to be random, so you generally do want to pick skills that are of high importance to you. I did horrible with that on this, So I have the research guy, which is important, but I got like a builder and a digger, which is probably not necessarily the best thing to do long term, because everyone can dig, everyone can build, it's just not as fast. Whereas these other characters are good at doing very specific things. Like there's machinery, which is good at operating the power wheels, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. That's like a hamster wheel thing. You have suit wearing, which is, I think, related to the space suits that you can get, which are kind of important things. And you have husbandry, which is us raising animals. We actually have 2 little ranches in here. And you have farming, construction, strength. I'm just going to go with, I do need another dupe, so I'm going to go with you. You're going to be just cleaning up everything, because I actually do need cleanup around here. And you can set their priorities. That's probably a good segue into this. In this screen, you actually have, I believe it's, well, 6 if you count off the little X's right there. I can't actually do that with him, but you can actually set priorities up to very high, you can turn it off, or you can turn it down low. So you can actually really fine-tune this, and I like that a lot. It's very, very, very nice, and you're just going to be storing and doing stuff like that. We already have enough people designed to operate things, and I'm trying to make plastic right now from the slicksters. I had a lot of anger at the slicksters. I'm trying not to let that seep into this. You do have different wall tiles. You have these, which allow you to flow water and air all the way through. You have these, which will allow you to just flow air, but not water. I say water, any liquid. Like, this is my oil pool over here. As you can tell, it's really freaking empty because I haven't dug down. Let's see if I can actually do the zoom out here. You can actually zoom out and see pretty much the entire base I've built. It's pretty small, and you can see that you can zoom out pretty far. So I'm assuming, and I know this is the like left wall of the place over here. I'm assuming that the map goes down about like that, but I could be wrong. This is as far out as it can actually go. And oh, we can actually scroll way up there. Okay, maybe it's a lot taller than I thought it was, and this is going to take for freaking ever for me to get up near the surface. If you get near the surface, you actually do have a vacuum that you can actually start building out into, and then you can launch rocket ships, which requires a lot of focus and a lot of like different resources just from what I'm reading. So yeah, that's something that I don't know if I'm going to be able to conquer on my first time through. I've finally gotten it to where I have like these kind of things balanced. The power production, this is a power plant that runs off of hydrogen. I have a couple down here that run off of coal. They emit carbon dioxide, which I need to feed this guy to make oil. And you can see this is just filled with carbon dioxide in here. I had 3 of these guys, if you guys are curious. Unfortunately, little buggers for some reason. And actually, let's go ahead and mop that up. I need you guys to mop that. Oh, we got another skill point in there. Oh, actually, we got a skill point on you. Okay, Otto, you want more tidying ability, and you want... Yeah, you started onto the suit-wearing branch there. Sorry for coughing there. You want to be tinkering, just because you might end up operating some things. But yeah, these guys, I had 2 of them die because I had to like manually just let them wander in here and then trap them. That's how I had to do it, because you can't wrangle these. You can wrangle certain things, but not these, and I didn't have any plastic to make traps, and I needed the oil to make the plastic, and yeah, it goes like that. But for some reason, this outer layer right here sucks up heat like nobody's business. And these guys are conspicuous in the fact that they require a lot of heat to actually, you know, survive. Like this one, I think they need to be like at 100 and something degrees. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Let's go in here. It doesn't say anywhere in here whether you can wrangle them or not, which I think is an important thing to add. Like wrangleable, please tell me, so I don't just get some and have them wandering around my base spitting oil everywhere. But you can see that they can live in this range. They're comfortable in this range. I'm trying to keep it relatively close to that. I actually need to raise that up to 34 just so it gets hot in there. And I actually had to look up, why do they keep dying? And that was why. They just had issues with that. I actually do have an air pump in here for whenever the little bit of oxygen creeps in. Oxygen lighter than carbon dioxide, so it floats up and that eats it, which is really nice. You can see almost a layering effect on the buildings here just based on that. Because you can see that all the oxygen is floating up. We do have some helium floating around here. Not helium, hydrogen floating around here somewhere. I'm just not sure where it's at. But you can see the oxygen pushes down the carbon dioxide. Probably a better way to show it is this. This screen is ugly. Let's go to gas. It's still ugly like that, but you can see black is carbon dioxide, the orange is natural gas. Both these are heavier than oxygen, so they float down. And then we have polluted oxygen over here that's being eaten by these. That's the only reason why it's on the top there rather than all over the place. You have more down here. But you have various gases that can float around. There's some hydrogen in there. There's where our hydrogen got stuck. It's just stuck in there. That's fine. I'm going to actually make that priority 8. Priority 8. And why is everything priority 4? Why? What? I did not change that down to 4. Oh, I know why it's 4. I'm a derp. But yeah. Let's go to construction, just so I only get the construction stuff. I need to raise these up to 6, just so they'll actually do it faster, because I actually need all that stuff done relatively quickly, so they can actually do things properly. There you go. I need that to be higher. That needs to be 8. Because I need that built so I can actually set up its properties before it starts shoving stuff through. Yeah, I'm relying mostly on hydrogen because I actually have good water sources. I have 2 steam vents right by my base. They're idle right now. They're not dormant. So I can't just go in there and do my stuff on them. I have to wait until they're in a situation that I can actually do that with. So close you. And this could eat many, many, many hours of my time if I really, really wanted to let it. I need to be careful about that because I find games like this extremely addicting, because it's basically I view it from like a programmer designer kind of standpoint where you're trying to figure out orders of operations. Right now, I do have enough hydrogen to fuel one of these with a surplus. So I have a second one here. Whenever I get this one up, I'm going to have 2 and a surplus. So I'm going to have to build a 3rd power plant to start eating up all that hydrogen. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with a massive, massive surplus, which is what that's what I'm using these for. You can build high pressure rooms, but I prefer having actual buildings for it. And these don't take any power, so I'm perfectly happy with that. I don't need high pressure vents or anything. We have pea water here, which is polluted water. It has a lot of germs on it, which is something you do have to concern yourself with. You notice in the cold biome, I don't have to worry about most of the germs because they die in the cold, which is great. Of course, it also means that it is below freezing in most of the places. You can see where my power plants are, the steam vents, stuff like that. It's producing some heat, but yeah, that's what we're going through all these overlays about. Should probably talk about that too. But anyway, these guys, irritating as hell. But I do have them now, so I do have an oil supply that is slowly producing plastic. This will spit out the plastic, I believe, whenever it gets to... I don't know how much storage it has. It has plastic in there. It's got 6 kilograms. I need like 200 kilograms, unfortunately. So it's going to be a while before I can use that. And I need the 200 kilograms for a steam power. So that is useful. And we're starting to get the guys running in the hamster wheels. Yay! These are power plants. If we come over to this, you can see how much each thing produces. These produce 400 watts while somebody's using it. Whereas these produce... uno momento. I will be right back. Okay, sorry for the jump cut there. Just had to get the door. Any hoozle. You can see right here that we have 800 watts from that generating, and you can also see where it drains it. There are more concerns about the power system than just generation. You may notice that there's different types of wires that I'm using here. I have some low-grade wires here. Max wattage. That's the entire wattage on the circuit that is viable, and it only says long commutes right now, by the way, because I have them up here digging this out. But... we are moving along. But anyhoozle, you have like a 1,000 watt wire here, so I can't have anything on this particular circuit that adds up to over 1,000. And you can see how much you're using right now, how much is the max down under the circuit status. I have it even if everything's in use, it's only at 720 watts. And then I have things that are at different amounts. That one's at 600 if it's at full thing. And the way you create a circuit is through transformers and through... like, you can see this is my main, like, spine of the power production, and all my power production and batteries are attached to it. So it's all just connecting through this, and that thing can go up to 20 kilowatts. Why don't you just wire the entire thing with this? Because this can't go through walls unless I use one of these special, like, breaker box things. These things right here, the heavy watt joint plate. It has to go through, and it takes up a tile for the floor, which I need to use for specific tiles like ventilated tiles or complete flow tiles or insulated tiles and all that other stuff. And also, these guys hate how it looks. Speaking of which, I should probably just go through each of these. Speaking of hating how it looks, let's start from the right. Automation overlay. We have one thing automated. It's whenever this reaches a certain temperature, it cuts this off to save a little bit of power. And why is that not going? There it is. It's producing heat. Oh, I think it might have overheated. No, they can go up to 257. I don't know why that one wasn't on. But you have automation overlay, which tells you like your automation. You can create massive circuits of things with NOR switches, OR switches, and switches. It's like redstone in Minecraft and stuff like that, where you're developing logic gates and all that other fun stuff. I'm using it fairly simply here, but you can do some rather complicated and amazing things with it. I just don't have the technology or the resources to take advantage of that. But this says, okay, if it reaches over 134 degrees in here, shut off these because it's hot enough for this guy. And I actually had that with them before, but they kept coming over here to this thing sucking all their heat out, which sucked. But you can actually attach it to a lot of things. You can send green signals to doors. You can send it to power plants. You can send it to transformers. You name it, it can be sent to it. You can even send it to production stuff. So, yeah. A lot of things can be automated, and this is a way to do it. And you can even create like circuit rooms and stuff like that. And if I really, really, really wanted to, I could actually make it so I'd have like a control room where one of the dupes could control so many things out here just by flipping switches or changing conditions. And it would flick one thing off, another on, and make it so that I wouldn't have to like manually go around and rotate the resources like I am right now. Which is what I'm doing, because I actually have a coal power down here for whenever this starts running low, which it's not going to run low. It's actually filling back up right now, but we're stable on power, so that's a good place to reach. The next one over is exosuit overlay. I have not made exosuits, so yeah, that's not going to actually do anything. I need to... we'll pause it for now. I don't have any exosuits. That's what you're using to build and do stuff in space. I don't know if you instantly die when you go into space or not. That is something that I would actually have to do some investigation on, but that is a whole other overlay that we unlocked with research that I haven't actually touched. So that's something that you guys are going to actually have to experience on your own. But I assume because judging by the buildings, you have these checkpoints that say, hey, this is where you need to swap into an exosuit, and then you have a charging port and all that stuff to charge the exosuits and all this other stuff, and then you have a point past that where you'd actually be building that. And that's one way where you can have like these, you can set the doors to one way, or you can set them to automatic, or you can even set them to permanently locked or permanently open. So yeah, there is something to be said about that. So you could control a lot of stuff with this exosuit setup. Other thing is we've got rooms, which is one of the first overlays that you've got. You can see this one has that little divider thing in there. That's because they will sometimes wander through the door whenever you're going through. So I have like a double hatch thing. So if I need to actually like lead him back, I can come in here and just leave this open and he'll wander back and then I'll close it back. You have to wait for a dupe to get there to do it, but it's fine. We have a hospital, which I never use because you heal passively, but it's there in case I get severely injured. I've only had 2 injuries on this one, and it was from this vent, because for some reason they were concentrating on dismantling this wire system that I was going to use to actually, pump it out of there, but it was too hot. So yeah, they were going in there and freaking out and basically dying. And even though I had that set to the lowest priority possible, and there were plenty of other jobs for them to do, they just would not leave that alone, and they were getting hurt from it. It sucked. We have 2 farm areas. I forgot to mention this one it's a stable. Basically, we have a grooming station, and there's things that we can use to actually farm resources off these guys. These little ones up here are producing coal for me. These are producing petroleum, I believe, or... it's the liquid I'm using to make plastic, and I believe you can make natural gas with it too. Yeah. That makes a little bit of natural gas in the production of actual fuel. So that is a thing there, and I need to go back to that. You also want to focus on rooms. Rooms are important to your morale. So you can actually build little decorations in here to actually improve their morale and stuff like that. You can see that up there is like improving the aesthetic of the area, which we'll get to in just a minute. But having these special rooms gives special bonuses, like a barracks gives you a +1 morale bonus, whereas a bedroom gives you +2. That's a private bedroom. We'll have the stuff to do that, but you need plastic to make them, so I haven't focused on it too much. I this is just a normal mess hall because I have low decoration items in here. I would need extremely high decoration items to make a great hall, which means like I'd like to make a statue in the middle or something like that. Eventually, I'll probably end up building one up here where I have chlorine gas. Currently, lovely chlorine gas. I haven't decided to deal with that, but supposedly it's good for sanitizing stuff. So I want to keep it kind of preserved in there. I can produce it through other things, but I'd rather not have to produce it. I'd rather just have some and store it in possibly something like one of these gas holding things. So just pump it out and just filter it so that chlorine just goes in there. It's the heaviest of the gases. So as soon as it comes out, it's going to drop. So it's going to get stuck down in here. If I wanted to get more oil, I'd actually have to keep digging down. Once you get down to the very bottom, things start getting warm and you start getting oil slicks that you can use to create plastic like that. But I haven't gotten down like that. I'm more interested in going up and seeing where the surface of this is. That's kind of where I'm building towards. You can see I'm not moving fast in any one direction. I do love that we have these 2 steam vents right here. That is so useful. And we're over on the side of the map because of one of the quirks on the map. I'll show that in a little bit. What else do we have in here? Massage clinic I don't have, but that improves morale. And the massaging thing reduces stress, which is helpful for morale as well. Got power plants, which we don't currently have one. We don't have a power control station. Well, we could build one, but I don't have a situation where I kind of want to build one yet. So, yeah. I guess we could like build one in there, maybe? I don't know. We don't have anyone who can use it anyway. I haven't actually built one of those. Greenhouse grows crops. Yay. Fertilizer station. That's basically the plant equivalent of a stable, which I don't currently have because it's cold and all my plants are mediocre to hot level. We can like look at the temperature here. It could grow in this room, but for the most part, temperatures around here are way too low. It needs to be over 50 for what I would want to grow right now. And frankly, I don't have access to enough areas that are warm enough for that. I could probably turn this into a planting section and then just lock it off and then just let the water flow off like that, which is actually an idea. I might do that. But this is going to start cooling off as soon as the water is robbed from it. So, yeah. Because this is warmed up because this water overflows in here and trickles across the bottom there, which sucks. And the only reason this is warm is because we had an issue whenever we were building this. They did it in the wrong order and it just pours down because dupes are idiots. Yeah, they decided to dig out all of this and then put it in afterwards. So just all the hot water poured right on top of them. They got scalded, but they didn't get injured. So that's at least a plus. You can see thermal tolerance, which is basically how happy your people are with different areas. Body heat loss is... Oh, there's some body heat loss right there. In the crude oil, I guess. I guess that sucks up heat, but I don't know. But things right here are gaining heat, whereas things over here are losing heat. This is losing heat up here. These are gaining, and you can kind of see with that, and I'm going to end up with more heat up here. My hope is to eventually set up something where I can actually build like another hot room that's not quite as hot in, not necessarily that section, probably down here to the left. And then you can also see state change, which is... anything green is stable. This, if it gets hotter, it's going to melt. This, if it gets colder, it's going to turn into ice. So, yeah. I'm not sure why it doesn't show that... because this... see, the water can be evaporated as well if you get it hot enough. But you have to get it pretty dang hot. And there's some vacuums there. I think that's because that guy just ate some things. That or... oh, I know what it is. This is sucking in the polluted air. And it creates a vacuum where that was. Okie dokie. Well, we already have the temperature thing down. What was the next one? Farming overlay? We don't have any farming yet. Fully grown, growing, halted growth. I don't have anything to demonstrate that with. I have tried growing things. I have successfully grown things. I've destroyed growing things. I have seeds for it for later whenever I actually can produce heat properly. We have germs, which is, like I said, very important. Your people can get sick. They can not necessarily... I don't know if they can die from it. I haven't had anyone die from germ infestation, but they get sick and it lowers their efficiency. And that's dirty water right there from melting polluted ice, if you're wondering what the water right there is and why I'm not bothering to clean it up yet. Here's the decor I was talking about. You can see these are all green. You actually get minus decor for their outfits if you have their default outfits. I don't know if you can produce more later. I've seen some in the printing pod, but they're just kind of like there. which is kind of interesting. Negative decor, you can see this is like negative 100, 313. It's never going to be positive because this is my utility channel. And you can see this is slowly turning green. I could actually start... Oh, I need to build a door there. I meant to do that a long time ago. So that actually counts as a bathroom. Speaking of which, bathrooms, nice. They improve morale. Actually having proper bathrooms is nice. Lavatory public, lavatory public. You can actually make them... If you come in here, you can actually assign the lavatories to certain people, which I might end up doing later so they don't go to like weird ones. So I can actually assign, say, this floor to that, this floor to that, this floor to that, just so they use their own proper latrines. But at the same time, not really interested in that. They can use whatever shitter they want. It improves all their morale. I forgot about those. These are washrooms. Latrines are just weaker versions. They use the actual outhouses that you can have. We have ventilation. I showed this a little bit before. You can see each of these squares is a little bit of air. I'm going to go ahead and let it run a little bit. Forgot why I paused it there. Probably because I didn't want things to happen in the wrong order. But you can see that we're pumping things out, and whenever this is not full, like whenever some of this carbon dioxide comes in from this pumping, it's actually going to cycle through a little bit, and it'll push out anything that's not carbon dioxide in there. You can see that it fills up real quick, sucks in a little bit more carbon dioxide, and just fills it up. So it's not immediate that we get the carbon dioxide out of there, but we keep it pressurized with carbon dioxide, and this just pumps all the extra junk out. We have more carbon dioxide coming from down here, but there's not a lot of carbon dioxide in here because we're not burning it right now. And that might be actually a problem in the future. You are... Oh, that's why I was doing that. You are now built. I need you to go to hydrogen. There you go. So you both have hydrogen. Set as you're out. Why is that not... There you go. It doesn't seem to believe that I want that as it's out, but it's okay. It's fine. It's there. It's hydrogen. So that's going to start going into there. But if we come back into here, you can notice the audio, first of all, gets muted, and we can hear things moving through here. You can see that as we're pumping this out, we get more hydrogen coming out and more hydrogen going around. And for some reason, we're getting more oxygen up there. Usually it would be more hydrogen in the top one, but I think we're intercepting it with this. But you can see that it fills this up and it starts filling these up, and we're going to eventually have to cut that off and send it through here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that just so it starts moving into those. Oh, never mind. I don't have that connected yet. Okay, that's fine. But we're going to see this start filling up, and it's fine. It works for what it is. There's some odd quirks about how it moves that are not intuitive. If you're going by like air pressure and stuff like that, normally they'd actually just stop at their own thing. And every now and then you'll get like a weird little stall right there. And I don't know why that happens. It's like it's just failing to animate or failing to think about doing things. But it is still sucking in air. I mean, it's not stopping. It's still just pumping them through. I'm not sure where the clog would be, but this keeps it from clogging right here, so it'll always push that out. We'll actually have these doing much the same thing, but they prioritize going over here, and then they feed back into this. So we might run into issues there. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm not too concerned about because I haven't gotten that far into it. We have plumbing overlay, which is pretty much the same thing except with liquids. You can see I have a fairly simple plumbing. I actually have all the bathrooms on one big loop, and these are all being fed by the same loop. Same with up here. They're just going about their business, and anytime you use water, it gets pumped back out. And the reason they won't use this bathroom, by the way, is because it is labeled hospital, so only hospital people living in there can actually deal with it. And I know why I turned off. I paused it. I had research that I needed to assign. You have light, which currently I'm not caring about. We don't have any light. We have 0 lux. I could put in lights, and I have plenty of power to do so. We're sitting here at about 60% power. Whenever we drop below that, it's actually going to start them back on the wheels, and they'll charge it back up to full. We might even kick this in if it turns into a problem where it drops down below 30%. But these provide a decent amount of power, as we saw in the power screen. We've already seen this screen. It shows you all the resources, color-coded very nicely. It doesn't tell you their intensity, but it does tell them that they're there. There's supposedly a mod that can actually tell you the intensity. Otherwise, it's just this bright pink, not like horrible thing. And I think pink is just junk that you've built. So, yeah. Got the temperature thing, which is really important. I have experimented on another map. And if you're not on Rime, you're going to have to worry about heat because everything's going to want to, at least in your starting biome, is going to want to start around like 70 something degrees. So you'll have to worry about things overheating, and whenever they overheat, they take damage. I'm not sure if that's actually going to overheat. No, it doesn't do anything until that one melts. But something like this could overheat. The liquid pump gets 167 degrees, it starts taking damage, it shuts down. And you can't actually pump anything with it until it's fixed, which means you're standing in hot freaking liquid until you deal with it, just straight up. Power is much the same way. I talked to you guys a little bit about the circuits. I have right now 4 transformers set up to handle these major circuits. This one's sitting here. It's going to be handling the circuit for the polluted water. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it for all this, because what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to build a water processing plant down here where I'll have it go, basically it's going to need to filter into water, and then it's going to pump into some storage tanks where it's going to get chlorine doused in an isolated chamber, high pressure chlorine bath. It's going to sit in there, and then on a clock, it's going to spit it back out into just a water reservoir, probably below this one. So, and it's probably going to be an isolated water reservoir because it's going to stay less full. Might just make it a big one, though. But it's going to spit it out in there to cool, and then we're going to pop it back up in here. I'm going to eventually have to replace the entire bottom of this with insulation, which is this purple stuff, just to keep it from transferring heat as much, because I want to keep this relatively cool. You can see we're already starting to get this warmed up just a little bit. That's because I am pumping hot water from here, because this water cools off a little bit in this transit, but not enough to actually keep it from being a little bit warm. So we'll end up with like about 80 or 90 degree water in here, which is not cold, but it's not super hot either. It's not shower temperature, as they put it. I could put a warmer in one of these to actually deliver hot water, but I don't want hot water for 90% of the things I'm going to be using water for. It's going to stay cool. And yes, I know that is a very little pool of water. I may end up having to expand it. If I do, I'm actually probably going to go with expanding it out here to the left, although I do need to have an avenue down here to actually get underneath here and start digging down through this, because I don't want to be digging through all of this obsidian and stuff like that, because it takes longer. It takes a lot longer. It's unpleasant. But yeah, we're going through. This is unreachable build. That means I need to build scaffolding. If you're curious what scaffolding is, it's that. Basically build ladders wherever you need them, and then you can delete them later and they'll destroy them. Oh, lovely pea water coming down. Hopefully it doesn't... Yeah, it's not going to land in any of the other areas. It's going to sploosh down here, which is fine. It drains off into this, which is why that lip's there. Yay. But I think that's pretty much everything we have. We've gone through power, the oxygen overlay. It has different colors. Like right here, oxygen just says breathable and it's blue. That is because it's lower pressure. Pressure does have an impact as to what you can do with it. And we've got like polluted oxygen sitting up here. And it's going to float down. It's going to get... We actually do need to build a filter up here. Filter, oxygen. There you are. Deodorizer. And we'll just build these temporarily along there just to suck in the bad air. And we'll even do on that side. I'm not going to do it any further down from that because this is just going to be our tunnel up, and this is going to drop down and actually do stuff. So it's fine. Right now they're building our second air production plant, which is because we're actually really close to being not producing enough oxygen. Despite the fact that we are pressurized right now, it can go down very, very quickly. And you could also, I think, vent excess pressure off into space. I did an experiment, and if I do... Let's see, where are they? They're in oxygen. Let's go ahead and close that out. If you do these little plants, like in an excess, these algae terrariums, they suck up carbon dioxide, but they output oxygen. And they output more oxygen than they suck up of carbon dioxide. So you can overpressurize with them, because unlike the other like electrically driven ones, like these little things right here, these will stop pumping if you reach 2,000 grams per second, or 2,000 grams period of pressure. They'll stop producing. So that's a pretty good thing, because they won't ever overpressure. Whereas those, if you have a whole bunch of them in one spot, you'll end up with like 5,000 grams of pressure, and your guys will get popped ears and have their morale drop, which slows them down, causes them to get cranky, messes them up a little bit. Oh, and we got more skills. How many skill points are we going to get in this episode? Jesus. Dig better. and you do have skills here. Only one branch off to the very far right, and that's for your like pilots. So I guess you'd want somebody to like specialize in being a pilot. So far I haven't worried about it. I just know that you can actually launch rockets. Lovely. I'm trying to think what else there is. You have these grooming stations, which allows you to make these guys happier. They're groomed. It feels a little cramped because it's a small space. You can only make these so big, though. I do wish they'd increase the population limit before they'd be cranky. How much coal is that? They poop out 200 kilograms of coal, though. So maybe 4 is enough. Maybe? Seriously? I don't know. You need to lay an egg, Mr. Slickster. And you need to be a larva egg, otherwise we're going to eat it. That would be a situation where we might end up running out of these guys. We're going to have to capture some more or wait for some more to come print it up. Because I want to get at least 3 or 4 of them producing oil in here, so I actually have a supply of oil. Now, what I could do is I could create, like, take this spot right here, gut it, which I've done before with other areas, and turn this into a liquid holding spot. Of course, I'd have to start building down here, build doors, all kinds of fun stuff that way, and turn this into like a liquid holder for the oil, and then pump it out into this particular area. But right now I don't want to do that. That would resolve the need for me to actually mop things every now and then, but still, it's fine. I'm okay with sending them in there to mop every now and then, just to get the 1 Slickster's worth of stuff, and I don't want to invest any more time in them since that I already have, which is way too much, just to make these guys work for me. It sucks just a little bit. I started with 3 of them. What? Oh, well, that's a thing. Temperature. He found the 1 cold bubble in that entire freaking room and just died. He'd been existing out here for like, I want to say 20 cycles or so. Just fine. Until I finally got him to get down in there. Ah, bloody hell. That's one of my frustrations. So now we have no Slicksters. I don't think I have enough oil to actually make enough plastic. Yeah, I know I don't have enough oil to make plastic. We have 6 kilograms of plastic. That's not going to be enough. So yeah, I did everything I could to make this inhabitable for that guy, but I guess that was not enough. Let's go ahead and grab the meat. Sweep, priority 9. Put it in the fridge. There. Don't let him go to waste, I guess. Now all of them are dead. That was a complete waste of a room. Now I need to transform it into something else. That is what this is for. Let's go ahead and we'll flick the power back onto it, so we can start scrubbing all the carbon dioxide out there, and we'll transform that into something else. We'll see what it is. Unfortunately, that is all I could do. That makes me frustrated. You guys saw it on camera. I was invested in those guys. They take 20 cycles to hatch from the eggs. So I was like, why? I built this room specifically for you. It's nice and warm. 198 degrees Fahrenheit if you're right next to the freaking space heater. Go next to the space heater if you're damn cold. That's the problem. There's no self-preservation. Corralling them in there is just random luck. I had to wait for them to wander in there. They're not going to move towards their food source, and they're not going to move towards warmth. They just wander randomly. So there's goods, there's bads. I like this kind of game a lot. There are things that need to be improved. The AI, bad AI, is not good. As in the term bad AI, but it's not just, oh, it's part of the difficulty. No. I can understand these guys being a little bit stupid, but jamming your face into a scalding hot vent, you can be as dumb as rocks, and unless you're completely nerve dead, you're gonna go away from the thing that's burning your flesh off. And then you have the animals that are not moving towards their food or warm spots whenever they need warm spots. It's random numbers are not a substitute for actual functionality. So that is that. Sorry for ranting on that a little bit in the middle of the episode, but I'm glad I discovered it before recording this, because a lot of this stuff I wouldn't have gotten to very obviously in the first attempt at recording this, because I didn't reach a point where I had this in that episode. I knew it was there, but I didn't reach a point where I was trying to build around it. And I didn't have the slicksters whenever I was first trying to record that either. So, and I didn't have the problems with them then. That would have been much further in. So, yeah. Huh. Well, I'll be darned. But that is Oxygen Not Included. I enjoy the game. I think the AI is pretty much my only gripe about it. They have no self-preservation concept whatsoever. So that is that. And I think we're ready to start building our ventilation systems proper. Okay, that's going up into there. This needs to bridge over into there. No, that needs to bridge over there. This needs to go under. So that's going to go under there. What's the priorities on these? 4. Set those to 6. And 6. Actually, no, we need those at 7. And that at 7. I don't know if we can actually reach that. We might actually have to dig this out to actually reach that. You can see I have the power going in there. That's because I didn't care about that too much. And then we can actually set... Where is it? I think it's that one. And then we want to go to the air-specific one. We want to deconstruct that and put it as priority 6, I believe. Yeah, we want it at 6. And then at 6 as well. Using the priorities has been a major godsend for me, by the way. And we want to put that there with a gas pipe. That gas pipe will go through to connect to that. Yeah, that's set to, let's set that to 6 as well. No, we'll leave it at 5 actually, because that's going to be to there. And then we'll have this one vault over that. Like so. Like that. There you go. You can create quite convoluted little things just floating around. And it's really kind of interesting. I like that. I like that you can do complex mechanisms that just, they work for the most part. All that other stuff. I just wish the AI was a little bit better. But anywhoozle, keep gaming, have fun, peace out. This has been Alzorath, and I will see you guys next time on First Strike, where we'll try another game, this time from the very beginning. Hopefully my microphone doesn't die again. But, yeah. See you guys next time. Bye.